I think you have yet to start, Bhumika. Hello friends, welcome to this webinar on the topic Action on TDS TCS Credit Details by Deductee at GST Portal. I am Pankaj Arora. I am presently contributing as Senior Manager Outreach and Capacity Building in Goods and Services Tax Network. This webinar is brought to you by Goods and Services Tax Network, GSTN, in collaboration with NEGD, that is National E-Governance Division of Digital India. So let us proceed. To start with, the agenda for today's webinar, we will have an overview how the TDS and TCS credits details will be, what action will be taken by such the deductee or the person from whom the tax has been collected at source by the e-commerce operator, what action needs to be done by that person, and what are the prerequisites for claiming that credit of TDS or TCS as applicable, and how the such person as deductee can view the details of TDS or TCS credit, because we have taken both TDS and TCS as applicable credit details, what action needs to be done. So whatever applies on the audience, they can do accordingly. We have taken this combined in this presentation. So we will discuss about the process for taking action on TDS and TCS details, and what will be the effect of rejection of TDS if the such details are rejected by the person as deductee or the person from whom the tax has been collected at source. So if he rejects such details, what will be the effect? And if he accepts, what will be done? How the credit will be claimed and realized in his ledger. And there we will discuss about the process, how the GSTR 7 certificate, that is the certificate for tax deduction at source, which is generated online, how it can be viewed and downloaded by the deductor and as well as the deductee on portal. And we will take some questions relevant to the topic of today's webinar. So to begin with, I will just have give a glimpse of how the TDS is being deducted and TCS tax is collected at source by the authorized person. So TDS provisions are contained in section 51 of the Act, and TCS provisions are contained in section 52 of the Act. From a person from whom the tax has been deducted at source, how he will verify, how he will claim the credit of tax which has been deducted from his account. And in case of if he is a supplier to the is a supplier vendor to the e-commerce operator, then how the tax amount of tax which has been collected at source by such e-commerce operator, how such credit entry of such tax collected at source will come into his account. So the statement of for TDS and TCS credit received is to be filed by those normal taxpayers, the taxpayers who are required to file Form GSTR 3B, and for also by the composition taxpayers who are filing GSTR 4. So, but the essential thing is that from those persons, either the TDS, the tax has been deducted at source, or the tax has been collected at source by the authorized persons who are required to deduct or collect tax under law. So if the tax has been deducted from your payment, or the tax has been collected from your payment by such e-commerce operator, or in case of TDS by the such person authorized to deduct tax, then in that case, these persons are required to file a statement of TDS or TCS credit received at GST portal. So there are certain prerequisites for claiming that credit. It starts that when the tax has been deducted and GSTR 7 has been filed by such person, and in such filed GSTR 7, TDS details have been indicated in respect of the deductees. So, or TDS details have been amended by the deductor either on his own or upon rejection of the details by the deductee. So, if there are entries for TDS deduction in GSTR 7, then the counterparty, that is the deductee, are required to take action on such TDS credit received. Same situation applies in case of TCS credit received. If the e-commerce operator has indicated such amount or details of tax collected at source in his GSTR 8 return filed by him against that person, indicating the details against that person, only in that case these details are to be taken into account, and the prescribed action is to be taken by such person. So how to view the details of the TDS and TCS credit? These credits details can be accessed on the GST portal. First, you have to log into GST portal using your credentials, and then the navigation path is you will have to click on services. After login, you have to click on services, then returns, and then returns dashboard. So the arrangement is like that there is a tile which has been provided, tile in the name of TDS and TCS credit received. This is the tile name which has been provided on the return dashboard of such person. So these details which are auto populated on this tile will on details, we will have to take action on such auto populated details of tax deducted or collected at source. So these details have earlier been indicated in the filed GSTR 7 or 8 of the such deductor or collector filed for the said tax period. Only then the deductee or the person from whom the tax has been collected at source can take the prescribed action using the tile in the name, namely TDS and TCS credit received, which is available on the return dashboard. So here is the screenshot of the return dashboard. After logging in, you will have to click on services, then you click on returns, and you get return dashboard at your screen. So this is the return dashboard. You can see this is the return dashboard of a normal taxpayer. Apart from GSTR 1, the GSTR 2A, it indicates the tile here, TDS and TCS credit received. So you can see, and there is a one button, prepare online button on it. And these details are which the details of tax deducted at source, which are indicated against a deductee by such deductor in the form GSTR 7 are auto-populated to the corresponding table of GSTR 2A first, and then in the tile TDS and TCS credit received, on which such deductee has to take action. So it has mainly 4 parts. You can see that upon clicking on such tile, this tile opens up, and it has 4 main parts. One is TDS credit received. It is the auto-populated figure of such TDS credit details of such deductee on whose GSTN the tax has been deducted by the TDS deductors, and that have been indicatively indicated in the GSTR 7 return filed by them. On there is another tile is amendment to TDS credit received. So this will enable the deductee to accept or reject such auto-populate details. And in case of if there is TCS credit, TCS which has been collected at source, such TCS credit received tile you can see on your on your dashboard, and you will have to take action on those tile also. And if the TCS credit details have been amended by such e-commerce operator in his filed GSTR 8, then corresponding entry will flow to this tile on the return dashboard of such person from whom the tax has been collected at source. So this is the first tile, that is TDS credit received. By default, the count will be shown as 0 because no action has been taken till now. Once you click on this, there are 2 type of action which can be done by a deductee in this in using this tile. So the deductee from whom the tax has been deducted at source, he can take 2 actions on the TDS credit received tile. Either he can accept those details if the details are complete and correct, or he can reject such details, take action of reject. Then if such details are incomplete or incorrect. But at the same time, let me explain this to you, that you cannot do any addition or modification or deletion in such auto-populate details. Only the 2 prescribed actions are accept or reject. So upon clicking on that tile, this opens up the auto-populate details which has been uploaded by the deductor and indicated in the file GSTR 7 by such deductor. So you can see that you have to, it contains the details of tax deducted by the deductor. There will be only one consolidated entry for tax deducted source by a particular deductor in respect of a particular GSTN of deductee. So for each GSTN, there will be only one consolidated tax deducted or tax collected entry for a given tax period. So once it contains the GSTIN number of the deductor, the tax period in which it has been indicated, and to be deducted, the taxable value, the amount of tax deducted by the deductors, headwise, and the status. You can see that here, since no action has been taken by the deductee, it indicates that no action has been taken. So once you check on this select, and then you can take the action of reject or accept. If you can accept the details if the details are correctly indicated. So in case you accept it, then the status change to accepted, and you have to take the action in respect of all the details of all the records individually, and then after taking the required action, you click on back, and you can see that in the tile of TDS credit received, the count is shown is 1 because against one record, we have taken the prescribed action, and it also indicates apart from count, it indicates the accepted taxable value, accepted taxable amount, and in case of rejection, it shows the rejected value and amount as well. So in this slide, we will demonstrate how the such record processed record will be rejected in case the details are not correct or are incomplete. Then in such case you will have to select select that record and then verify if the details are indicated correctly and properly. If the case is not such, then you will have to click step from the drop down menu. You will have to check status as rejected. Then after you reject those details, the status will be turned to reject. And after taking all the prescribed action in respect of all the details, all the records which you show on your dashboard against the tile TDS credit received, then you click on back. And in this case also, you can see that the TDS credit received gives count of total records in which you have taken action. And since we have demonstrated that how to reject, it contains the rejected count as 1 and show me the value as well as the tax amount as rejected by me. So to proceed further, it happens that if the TDS details the tax deduction at source, the amount which have been indicated by the deductor in his return is not correct or doesn't indicate the true value, then in such case, these details can be amended by such TDS deductor, or upon rejection by such deductee in his dashboard, then the suitable amendment to be made by such deductor by using tile 4 of his GSTR 7 return in the coming tax period. Then if he makes amendment to TDS credit received, then such amended details will flow to the tile amendments to TDS credit received, and upon clicking on that, you will be indicated a summary of all such TDS amendment credit received which have been uploaded by the deductor in his filed GSTR 7. So against such amendment TDS credit summary also, against each record you will have to select it and take required action, which is same as accept or reject. To repeat it, it will contain the revised amount of tax deducted at source, because if the original amount which has been indicated in the GSTR 7 return by some deductor is not correct, either that deductor can himself suo motu amend it using the tile 4 of his GSTR 7 return, or upon rejection of such deductee by using his TDS credit received filed by him for a given tax period, the information of rejection flows to the next tax period return GSTR 7 of such deductor, and then he can make the necessary amendments in such TDS details using tile 4 of GSTR 7 for the coming tax period. So against such amended records, the deductee has either to reject or accept as the case may be. In this slide, we can see that after selecting such record, the user can either reject or accept. These two actions are possible. So if the deductee accepts the TDS or TCS credit received amount, in that case, such amount which has been accepted against the TDS credit or TCS credit, that amount will be credited to the electronic cash ledger only after filing, only after such TDS or TCS credit received is filed by such deductee or the person from whom the tax has been collected. After taking prescribed action, only if he files such details, then these accepted amount of TDS or TCS credit will be credited to his electronic cash ledger, and that cash ledger amount can be utilized by that person for payment of any tax liability, or if there is no tax liability, it remains unutilized, then that person can claim refund for that amount of uh, that amount. So here we are uh, demonstrating that the person accepts the TDS amendment summary because details are correct. So once he checks that record, and then he clicks on accepted, and then when he clicks on back button, it will bring him back to that tile, and that like previously we had demonstrated, it will show the count as well as the accepted or rejected amount details. And here one question arises: what happens when a deductee rejects the TDS or a person from whom the tax has been collected source? That person rejects the TCS credit details which are indicated in his TDS or TCS credit received tile. So in case of rejection, then these rejected details will flow to form GSTR 7 of such deductor or form GSTR 8 of such e-commerce operator of that, as the case may be, after filing, if such details have been rejected and such TDS and TCS credit received is filed by such deductee or person on his return dashboard at GST portal, then these rejected details will flow to form GSTR 7 or 8 of the respective GSTN holder, and then that person will take action of amendment in the next coming GSTR 7 or 8 tax return cycle. So that TDS deductor or TCS collector can amend those details which have initially been rejected by the deductee or the other person. So in this case, we have demonstrated you have to reject if amendment details are not correct, and it will show you the count wise rejected value and amount. So this is the tile for, similarly there's tile for TCS credit received. So the TCS credit which is indicated in GSTR 2A based on the tax collected at source by e-commerce operator against GSTN number of that person, and such details are indicated, are auto-populated in the TCS credit received tile available at the return dashboard. And this is the third tile on TCS credit received tile. And this part will, by default, it will indicate as 0. And it will again, in case of TCS also, it will be the month-wise summary of the tax collected by a particular GSTN holder, that is e-commerce operator. It will be, there will be one consolidated entry for each month against by each of such collector for a given tax period. It will contain the details of gross value, supplies returned, and net value. So the net value, whatever amount has been collected by the e-commerce operator, the headwise tax will be shown on the such summary details, and such person from whom the tax has been collected at source will be taking action on it after such details have been indicated in GSTR 8 filed by such TCS collector. So once you check on that details, and you have to take action of reject, or accept. So once you accept it, you can get the TCS credit received counts and how many records you have taken action. This will show as count, and such accepted or rejected tax value or tax amount will be shown against that tile. And once you click on back, you will again come to your that tile period. So in this slides, you can see that either you have to accept or reject the TCS credit received. So once you, and similarly in case of amendment, there is any amendment to TCS credit received by the tax e-commerce operator, and that has been indicated in GSTR 8 return filed by him. After that, you can see such details in the tile 2 amendment to TCS credit received. Accordingly, upon clicking on such action, you can see those records, and you will have to validate those entries by action accept or reject. And once you take the required action in respect of all these tiles which are applicable to you, suppose if there is no if you are not supplying your goods or services through the e-commerce operator who is required to collect tax at source, then there is no need to act on these two tiles, TCS credit received or amendment. Or in case you will have to take action only if the TDS has been deducted or TDS deducted has been amended by the such TDS deductor from whom you are supplying goods or services. Only then you will have to take action on these tiles. So once you take the prescribed action, then you can click on preview. You can see there is a button preview draft TDS and TCS credit received. You can click on to preview such details before clicking on proceed to file. So once you click on preview, a draft summary of all the entries you have made in such tile will be reflected. A draft will be prepared, and you can see in the watermark also a draft. You can see draft is printed on it. So once you check that the entries are correct, then only correct and complete, then you click on proceed to file button, which is available on the on your dashboard. So once you click on proceed to file, and then you will have to check on the declaration and select the authorized signatory who is filing such statement of details. Then after once you check the authorized signatory, then only then the button for file TDS or TCS credit received is enabled. You can see it at the corner of your return dashboard. So once the button for filing TDS credit received is enabled, please make sure that before clicking that file TDS TCS credit received button, your entries, whatever action you have taken, and the action has been indicated correctly by you. Because after clicking such button of filing TDS TCS credit received, you will not be able to change your option. So click yes only if you want to file, otherwise click no to change your action. Then in such case, suppose it is we click on yes, it is to be filed, then whatever applicable in our case, whether DSC or EBC, we can file. We are demonstrating here how to file with OTP with EBC. In such case, a one-time password OTP comes on my email or mobile number, which is registered at the GST portal. And once I enter that OTP and validate my OTP, in such case, these details are filed. The TDS, TCS credit received details are filed by such person. And upon filing, you can see that status is shown as filed for a particular tax period. And there is a one application acknowledgement that is application ARN reference number for which you can note down and which is also communicated on your notified email ID and mobile number upon filing. So after TDS and TCS credit received form is filed, ARN is generated on successful filing of such form, and such accepted TDS and TCS credit amount will be credited to the electronic cash ledger, and accordingly an intimation on SMS and email are sent on the registered mobile number and email ID, and also these information are available to the taxpayers for tax officials for view. So we have till now we have seen that how the TDS and TCS credit received details, what action are to be taken on these details, and how this statement is to be filed by such person, and upon successful filing what needs to be done, that amount will be which you accept is credited to your electronic cash ledger, and the amount which you reject, the details which you reject, will flow back to such person or TDS deductor or e-commerce operator. In case of TCS credit rejected, then such person, such deductor or e-commerce operator will have to amend such details, TDS or TCS, whatever it may be, in the coming return GSTR 7 or GSTR 8, as the case may be, for the following tax period. So now we will discuss what is GSTR 7A. GSTR 7A is a system generated TDS certificate which is generated once the deductor furnishes a return in form GSTR 7 on GST portal, and also the deductee accepts the details uploaded by deductor and files his TDS credit details for a given tax period. We have described in previous portion of my presentation how such details are to be accepted by the deductor and how he can file his TDS credit details for the given tax period at GST portal. So these two things will be done once the deductor furnishes return on his GSTR 7 and the deductee takes the prescribed action. Once he accepts such details and files his TDS credit details for the given tax period at GST portal, only then form GSTR 7A, that is TDS certificate, will be available. So this certificate will be available for both deductor and deductee as well. So how to view this form GSTR 7A, certificate of tax deducted source? You will have to either, whether you are a deductor or a deductee, you will have to log into GST portal and click on services, and in user services you can view or download certificate. There's a link given for view or downloading certificate at your dashboard under services, under user services menu. You can see here that view download certificate link is there. Once you click on that link, you will get a list of the certificates which can be viewed or downloaded. You can see in such case GSTR 7 certificate link is there, and once you click on TDS certificate link, you can access the such TDS certificate facility. Here 3 columns are there: financial year, return filing period, or GSTN number of deductee. So either you enter the financial year and return filing period. In such case, you can view all the TDS certificates which are available to you in case you are a deductee, or which are to be issued, which have been generated by you as a deductor. In such case, you can for a particular period you can view all such certificates. But in case you want to view or download the certificate in respect of a particular deductee, or if you are deductor, you will search in case of a deductee, If you are a deductee, then in case you can search as a deductor. The GST number of deductor will be available on your dashboard in your case. So once you click on this, and you can get the details of the TDS certificate. You can see the TDS certificate is there, which contains the form number as GSTR 7A and form description as TDS certificate, GSTN number of deductee who has, this is the dashboard of deductor. So GSTN number of deductee is given here, legal name of deductee is given, trade name of deductee, return period, and the at the extreme corner you can see download link is there. Once you click on that download link, the certificate will be downloaded and you can save it and take action accordingly as for your record. So this is the format of the downloaded GSTR 7A, which is downloaded by you. So here one thing to mention, that a single TDS certificate is issued per GST number for all the supplies on which tax has been deducted for every GSTR 7 return filed. It means that for a particular tax period, if a GSTR 7 is filed by a deductor, a single TDS certificate will be generated for each of the deductee GSTI number for a particular tax period. So I'll take some questions of the audience. Akhilesh Gupta ji has asked, is there any due date? Is there any due date? Gupta Sahab, there is no due date for filing such TDS or TCS credit details. But one thing should be made sure that once a return GSTR 7 or 8 has been filed, indicating the details of tax deducted or tax collected at source, then that person, the TDS deductee, or the person from whom the tax has been collected, will have to take action on the TDS or TCS credit received as indicated by me. There is no due date, but the credit will be available in your electronic cash ledger only when you take the required action of acceptance, and only then it will be available to your credit electronic cash ledger. So another question is, can I change the accepted record? Sir, as I told earlier, also the accepted record which have been filed at GST portal cannot be changed, and action on details can be changed only before filing of such details for a particular tax period. Another important aspect is, what if deductee files the TDS details without taking action in the TDS or TCS credit received table? If the deductee chooses to file the TDS details without taking action on the auto-populated details, or he takes action on some and leaves the rest details, then these pending items on which he has not, the deductee has not taken any action, these pending items will be rolled over to the next tax period for taking action in the next tax period. And the credit will flow to electronic cash ledger on the date on which the deductee acts and files the same with at GST portal. So where the such amended records can be seen, all such amendment records, amendment to TDS or TCS will be available in the amendment tables of TDS and TCS Credit Received form, which is available at the dashboard of deductees or the person from whom the tax has been collected at source. So can I as a deductee add or edit the TDS or TCS records auto-populated in my TDS or TCS Credit Received? No, you cannot edit or add anything into the auto-populated records. If the such records are not correct, then only the action you will have to take is to reject such details. because modification at your end is as deductee is not possible. You will have to reject such details. Is there any late fee or timeline? There is no due date or late fee for filing of TDS TCS credit received. So one important question is, can a person file TDS and TCS credit received multiple times for a given tax period? No, sir. For a given tax period, you can file TDS and TCS credit received only once. The table is tax period specific, and there is no offline tool for filing TDS and TCS credit received as of now. So I will take some more questions from the audience. Nandesh Barai sir has asked, I am a taxpayer providing services to various government departments, and thus government department had deducted TDS and then made the payment. In total, there are 3 departments that have had deducted source before disbursing the payment. Out of these 3 departments, creditor 2 are reflecting, and one credit from one is not reflecting. So what they will have to do? Sir, the corresponding credit will be reflected in your GSTR 2A only when the corresponding GSTR 7 or 8, in your case GSTR 7 is filed by that department, indicating the tax deducted source in the given tax period in such return. Only then these details will be auto populated to your GSTR 2A, and it will be available for taking action in that tile in your return dashboard. You may contact that department to ascertain that their GSTR 7 has been filed or not. And there is one important announcement for the month of October, November and December 2018. The return time period has been extended. It can be filed as of now by 31st of January 2019. So I'll take some more questions. Nitish Khandelwal ji has asked, do I need to file for all SSCs? Sir, only you need to file only for those tax periods, only if the tax has been deducted in those tax periods, TDS has been deducted, or the tax has been collected from such SSCs. Only those tax persons need to file these TDS or TCS credit details, received details. So if no action, one person is asked, if no action can be taken, then what will those amendment tabs? If on certain auto populate details you take no action, it will be available to you in the next period for taking prescribed action. Gaurav Doshi has asked how many times a record can be amended. Sir, you can amend as many times as you want before clicking on filing such details. Once you click on the button file, then these records cannot be amended. Before that, you can change your choice as many times as you want. So these were the questions of the audience on the relevant topic. This, I hope the presentation has been useful to you in resolving your queries. And there are certain social media channels of GSTN and Facebook page. In Facebook page, we regularly updates about the new functionalities and the new updates and advisories and the troubleshooting tips. You can subscribe our Facebook page, which is in the name of GST Systems India. On Twitter also, our handle is Ask GS Tech, on which you can post, you can ask regarding the if there are any technical issues faced by you or any other query relating to GST portal processes. And all the webinars which we have conducted so far are the recordings of these webinars, apart from other short videos, are available at our YouTube channel. You can subscribe and click on, once you click on bell button, you can be updated as soon as a new video is uploaded on our YouTube channel. So here is a big thank you for all the viewers of this webinar, and I must acknowledge my gratitude for the wonderful support and inspiration given to me by Shri Prakash Kumar, CEO of GSTN, Mrs. Kajal Singh, EVP Services GSTN, Mr. Rajiv Agarwal, who is heading the outreach and capacity building wing in GSTN, and my training team colleagues, Mr. Sateshwaran, Neera Tamta, Rekha Tatawat, and Mr. Veer Singh, and my GSTN IT team, Mr. Munish for his IT support, and Mr. Sholu Rao and Ms. Bhumika Suri of Digital India, who have provided us